Hello there, Karen here. Today I'm doing this a layout with this photograph of my daughter and her little baby. It's a gorgeous photo of them out together, and the little one was just fascinated by the leaves blowing in the trees. And I've decided to use this 12 by 12 stencil that I bought recently. I've been dying to use it, and I'm not using the whole thing. It's a kind of leaves hanging down from trees, which seems to be appropriate for this photo. But I didn't really want it over the whole page. I just wanted to cover about half the page so that it would leave a bit of blank space for the photo and any embellishments that I wanted to do. So I've jumped ahead a little bit here. So I used some modelling paste for the leaves, and then I've used some of these watercolour paints to colour it green, to come out a bit of a brighter green than I had originally anticipated. And then I wanted to do a little bit of blossom in the trees, even though there isn't any blossom in the photo. I just thought it would look pretty with some little bit of pink blossom. So I got out a product that I've had for a long time called Flower Soft, and it's little tiny, absolutely minuscule pieces of tissue paper that's made into it's almost like a powder. And I've used a couple of different shades of pink. This is just a brighter pink, and then I use also another pink that's a bit lighter, and I cover the whole thing with this blobs of glue, and then putting the Flower Soft on. I'm going through this quite quickly because you'll see later I actually changed my mind about this layout, about this background, but I'm ploughing on with it. I'm not sure where it's going, and I'm not sure I'm happy with the colour, but in fact, I'm sorry about that. You didn't actually quite see it. You will see it in a minute how it ends up, but I've jumped straight to looking through my scrap box for some bits of pink cardstock. I thought I might try punching out some flowers, and that might give it a little bit more dimension, and I thought that might help a bit. So I found some little scraps of quite pale pink card, and I'm just punching out some little flower shapes out of a variety of them. I think they all are a similar shade of pink. There's a few, some are polka dotted, and some have got little I think flowers on it. So I've just punched out a whole load of flowers, gone back, you can see there, that's how it ended up, but the colour doesn't really go that well with the photograph. The green is a bit bright and a bit leery, and I'm really not sure about it at this time. So in fact, after I'd thought about it for about a day or two, I thought, no, I'm going to start again. So I've discarded that one, started again, and this time I got out my glass beads pot. This is where when the glue dries, it just leaves little tiny glass beads in the stencil. I did it half with the beads, or maybe about 3/4 with the beads, and then I left a few spaces just for ordinary modelling paste, just to fill the gaps. So it's not the whole thing in this glass beads, but it's enough for it. It'll just give the whole page a bit of a sparkle. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm going through the stencil once again with the glass beads, because it's beads embedded in glue. The glue dries and disappears, and it just leaves this sparkly beady effect, which looks really pretty. I've used it quite a lot over the years, the last couple of years, and I really like it. So I think I've taken it off, leaving that bit to dry, so the glass beads, and then I do put the stencil back in place, which I don't think I show you. Now I've already done it, and I've just filled in the spaces a little bit with just plain modelling paste. There's a bit of a mixture of the two. And I'm going back to my watercolour paints, and I'm trying a different colour scheme this time. Still green, but I wanted it a much softer green than the one I had before. It came out much too bright the first time round, so I'm giving it another go and spritzing lots of water on to try and make sure I keep the colours soft. And I'm also using a water brush so that the colours are are not too saturated. And I've gone for a darker colour green, but it because I'm watering it down a lot, it actually comes out a fair bit softer. And if you can see the photograph next to it, I'm a little bit closer to the background of the photo with this colour scheme, and I'm a lot happier with the way it turns out. You can't probably see terribly well the glistening beads shining through, but they really look pretty. The beads, when this all dries, the beady effect, it just catches the light. It's really pretty. Much happier with this softer green. I think this is a much better colour match, and it just turned out better. You can see the actual leaf shapes better. And then I picked it, and then I thought, well, I'm not going to try the Flower Soft again. That didn't work at all. So I've just gone for these little flowers that I punched out, and I'm just spreading them around It's a much softer pink than the Flower Soft, so again it all matches in beautifully with the little cardigan that Alyssa's wearing. So all in all, this is I'm much happy with this background. And now I'm using the little the embossing tool on a foam pad just to make the flowers just stand up a little bit. And I'm just punching out a few more from the strips that I had before and just going through them and making them it's like do a little circle effect in the middle of the flower, and it just makes all the leaves stick up a little bit and makes them look a bit more dimensional. I'm just spreading them around on the leaf background, and I much prefer that. So you can see the little flowers go really well with Alyssa's cardigan, and I'm putting some little pink pearls in the middle of each flower, and that just finishes it off beautifully. And I'm really happy with this background this time. I'm so glad I started it again. I'm denied about whether I should just plough on and stick with what I had, but I really didn't really like it. I don't know if I'll end up using it another time, but at the moment it's just sitting on another desk, sitting out the way, and I just carried on with this one. And when I was going through my scrapbooks, I found this slightly larger piece of, it's like a bit of gingham, very fine, small, tiny check in the pink, and it was in the right pink, so I thought I'd use this to back the photo. So I'm just going to put that. I think that is the only matte I'm going to use for this photo. It doesn't really need too much because obviously all the detail is in the background. So I just wanted to give it a bit of a pink edge to set it aside from the background. And then I'm just choosing a doily. There's a couple of doilies. They keep coming out. I've decided to use this one. This is the one I cut on my silhouette machine. Both of those two doilies were cut on my silhouette machine, and I've had them in my little doily bag for a while. I keep thinking whether I should use them, and this time I've chosen this one, which is very got lots of little floral holes in, I suppose you'd call it. And this is my box of Maggie Holmes Flourish die cuts. So it's all floral die cuts, flowers and leaves. I've dipped into it before. I've tried to use it on a previous layout, but they're quite big, some of the flowers. But I thought it would work quite well on this layout. So I'm just picking out, first of all, I picked out some blue ones to go with my daughter's top, but actually I've stuck, in the end, I just stuck with the pink colour. I thought the pink was, it didn't need to have the two colours going on really. So I actually end up just choosing some quite pale pink flowers. So I think I've picked out most of the ones I want, and a few leaves as well. And I've just put a bit of the my foam on the back just to lift up the photo a little bit away from that background. And I've already attached. Oh, and as you can see in the background, I have actually done a bit of misting. At some point, I think my camera must have cut out, and I didn't realise. And I did a bit of misting with some pink shimmers just to add a little bit of pink behind the doilies. I'm sorry I didn't do that on camera. I think sometimes my camera runs out of charge and I don't notice. I'm so involved in what I'm doing, I didn't realise that the camera had stopped filming. But it was just a little bit. I used the packaging technique with a little bit of pink mist, just to give that little shading of pink behind the doily, so it wasn't white on white. And now I'm just arranging all the beautiful flowers around the photograph, mainly around the bottom and the right hand corner. And I've got that lovely, I think it's a gold vellum leaf. Well, it's vellum with gold leaf shape printed on it, so it's made of vellum, and I thought that looked really pretty along down the side there. And then a combination of pink flowers and leaves just arranged around the photo, which I really like that. And it all picks out the pink in the flowers that I punched out earlier, very much in the same shade. So it's all quite soft, very pink, very feminine page. Because I think this photograph needs to have that kind of treatment. I didn't want any harsh colours. Although I do end up using this black alpha, and it's a thicker, and it's called Charming. And I just did want the one word to be of wonder. I've been umming and ahhing about this title for a couple of days before I got around to finishing it. I was thinking of face of wonder, look of wonder. I wanted to get the word wonder in there somewhere, and in the end I've just gone full of wonder, and I've used the Pinkfresh Studio pink puffy alphas, these little puffy alphas. I've used those to say full of, and then the Charming alphabet to say wonder. So a little face is looking up at the trees that were blowing in the wind, and she was fascinated with these trees apparently. And you see, I've done a little bit of, again off camera, I've done a little bit of journaling, really just saying just that her little face was fascinated. She was a little fascinated with all the trees blowing in the leaves blowing in the trees. And I'm just picking out a few stickers here and there. I've got a butterfly, that circle sticker. I think this is a sheet from the Maggie Holmes Bloom rather than the Flourish collection, these stickers. I've had them a while. And I just put the little gold love under there because it's, it's a photo of my daughter and her daughter, and it's obviously a photo of love. And a few little hearts from another Pink Fresh sheet. And that circular sticker, it says, "Let us lay in the sun and count every beautiful thing we can see," which, although they're not laying in the sun, they are looking around at all the beautiful things around them. So I thought it was kind of appropriate. Now I thought it just fitted in quite well there. So I'm just putting a little few pink hearts around the page just to finish it off, and that's it done. I love this layout. You can see there the beady effect. I'm really, really pleased with how this turned out. So thank you for joining me, and do join me again soon. Goodbye.